Alright, so for whatever reason, the sophomore class is our largest class on both sides. I think for the girls as well, it's our biggest group of girls. And it keeps growing. So we had a new addition this year, Sasha. So Sasha came out to us and she came after we had our first week. We have a new week practice. So if you've never swam before, we're not really sure what your swimming ability is. We have some of our veteran swimmers stay after and volunteer their time for an hour. And we try to teach you the basics of the strokes so you don't drown the next week of practice. Try to get you to want to stay. If we just jump you in, throw you in with everyone else, and it's okay, you got to just know everything right off the bat. You're probably not coming back tomorrow. So Sasha missed a few of those days. She joined us late. We were working on her physical. She came in, and I give her so much credit. She didn't get that practice to say, okay, this is how to do this is how to do this. So she got in, and it was like, just go. You got to just swim. We don't have time for that anymore. That was the first week. So Michelle worked with her a lot. When Michelle was there, that's one of the great things about having volunteers with us is that they have the time sometimes to work with that sea lane that needs extra help, that we can't always go over there, every minute. So Sasha became, probably one of the hardest workers in that lane. Was so excited to swim an individual event, not just swim relays in a meet. It would come to me every day. One of my duties during the school day is to monitor the cafeteria for half of the lunch period. And every day, Sasha comes in and during swim season was excited. What are we doing today? What are we doing today? We're gonna have a house party at my house. I made cupcakes this day. I mean, joined this team and just ran with it, and just loved every minute of being on this team. I think she loved being part of the team more than probably any team she's ever been on. So we look forward to next year with Sasha. The rest of our sophomores are all returning sophomores from last year. So before I say that about every single one of them, they're all coming back to us from last year. So they all came back to us now, hopefully with some knowledge of the strokes, and we're just working on now, okay, let's get your endurance back up to where it belongs. So our next sophomore is Emma. Emma's not somebody I get to see during the school day, so I don't really know what goes on day to day. She just shows up in practice, but she's there every day. She's probably one of the first ones here, here getting ready to help, do whatever you need. She's always in the water, working hard, in the lane, making sure she's doing every single set. We put the sets up on the board, and she's always looking at it, okay, this is this, ask a question if she doesn't understand something. Usually it's just because I didn't write it clear enough. Another swimmer that swam everything, and it was nice to see that difference, that last year as a freshman, when Emma had to swim the 500, it was like, oh my God. I mean, she was probably similar to the Josh thing, I actually made her do it, and it was like fear. And now this year it was, okay, get in, I have to swim the 500. Okay, and they do so much more than 500 yards in practice every single day. I make them all swim it because I need them to believe that they can do it. So it was nice to see Emma get in and swim it this year and not be afraid to swim it. So maybe not as many 500s next year, but it was important. Katie. Which you guys will all get those at the end. We kind of missed giving them out in the beginning. So we'll let you get them at the end. So like I said before, all our rest of our sophomores are returning swimmers. So Katie swam a lot of relays last year. Swam like I make everybody swim the 500, and most of the time didn't complain. I think toward the end of the season last year, believed that I believed she could do it. And this year she came in as like a totally different person. There was like no question of what she was doing. The times that she got this year in her season, that she just blew apart from where she was last year. One of our only, with 3 girls get Grand Slams, Katie was one of them. Decided she liked the 100 fly. Again, another, like, I don't ever have anyone want to swim the fly. And, well, maybe she doesn't exactly like it, but she became very good at it. Very competitive at it, so she did have to swim it maybe a little more often than she wanted. Swam the 500, took a ton of time off for 500. For the first time, I think, really started setting goals for herself. You know, instead of just getting in and hoping to finish the event, it was, I really want to get this time. You know, she like had an idea of what her times were and where she wanted to be. And achieved, I think, most of the goals you set out for yourself, you achieved throughout the season. So I can't wait to see what your goals are next year. Katie Claire. All right, Lauren. As we said earlier, Lauren was our leading point scorer of the sophomore class. She qualified for Western Mass in the 50 free. So then she also went and swam in all 3 of the relays at Western Mass in addition to her individual event. She had never swam before high school and came in and has become one of our most competitive sprinters. You know, when I'm making a meet sheet, and okay, who's going to swim what, who are we against? I mean, certain things are like a given. And the 50 and the 100, there's Lauren's name. You know, it's just assumed that those are the events she's going to swim. Try to vary, maybe change a relay, something a little bit different here and there so she doesn't get sick of them. But I mean, I've asked her, nope, those are the things I like. I swim them well. I want to keep some of them. We were able to work on her stroke some. Mr. Mercer's good at grabbing the camera, going underwater. You know, let's look at what you're doing with your stroke, work on your dive. You know, she became just faster and faster. I think the best moment was when she qualified for Western Mass and actually didn't know she qualified because one of the times this season that our electronic scoreboard decided to not work was during Lauren's 50 free. And so when I looked at my watch and I knew she had, on my watch it was a qualifying time, but my watch isn't official if she wins the race, so I had to get it from the officials and Mr. Mercer up at the scoreboard and him yelling down at me, trying to give me a thumbs up, and by the time I make it over to her, the next race is about to start, and I'm telling her, it's what you just made Western Mass, and she goes to scream, and I have to like cover her mouth. Because they're about to like start the next race, and you have to be quiet at the start. So that was probably the most fun moment of the year. So next year, Western Mass United States. That'll be the goal for next year. Lauren and Matt.
Yay!
Hey, you don't use that kind of
All right, Cassie.
Watch it.
Cassidy came with us to Western Mass. For the girls, you know, as you hear all the times, for the girls, it's a huge achievement for girls that don't swim year-round to get under 30 seconds in a 50 free. That is like the infamous number. Like, oh my God, did I break 30? And as a sophomore that's really, you know, had never swam before and swam last year, but was sick probably more than she wasn't last year. So didn't get to really enjoy her full season. And you're lucky that, you know, like a lot of kids, it's that time of year, and we were lucky that this year she really didn't get rid of illness, and she was able to swim hard her whole season. And the meet that she broke 30 seconds, you know, for a lot of these girls and boys, we have that moment that we can remember with them. It was so exciting. And when you know, again, like looking at that watch and knowing she got a 29, it was like, you know, run to the side of the pool, like, oh my God, you did it, you got a 29. And it was just like, you did it again that meet. It was like, once you do it, okay, I know I can. And she just continued to swim well, again, get best times, better her 50 free time again at Western Mass. And maybe next year we'll qualify for Western Mass on your own. Cassie.